This video will show how I converted an older Roco crane into a DCC controlled lighted and animated crane for my Pan Am Rec train. I started by disassembling a Roco 200-ton crane into its individual parts. Next was building a cradle for a 10 RPM 12-volt motor out of brass-shaped stock. A hole was drilled to accommodate the motor's D-shaft into the cradle, and a piece of square stock was soldered against the flat part of the shaft, to keep the shaft from turning in the cradle. This way, when power is applied to the motor body will turn and the shaft will stay stationary. The next step is to get power from the trucks. Metal wheel sets were used to replace the plastic wheels. Brass KD coupler springs were formed to act as wipers against the back of the wheels to pick up power from the rails. Flexible wires were soldered to the spring sets and routed to the top of the frame. Since the motor shell and shaft are electrically connected, yet insulated from the motor itself, I soldered one side of the pickup wires to the brass cradle to transmit power to the inside of the crane. The top and bottom parts of the frame were then reassembled. Now turning to the body of the crane. The left rear wall of the crane was removed and a .040 styrene pad was glued to the floor. This will be the area to mount the boom motor and relays. The removed cable drum was fastened to the boom motor. Next, the pulley arm assembly was shortened and reinforced with square styrene. Using a step drill, the center pivot hole was enlarged to accommodate the swing motor. The locations of the boom motor and relays was determined for clearance and fit. Fitting the body base onto the crane frame, two square styrene pieces were fitted against the flat sides of the swing motor. This will allow the crane body to swing as the motor turns. A clamp was formed using brass shim stock to fit around the motor. This will be used for electrical pickup. The relays were glued in place and a DCC decoder was mounted to the right side of the body. Wiring for the crane was done as in the diagram shown. From there the decoder was wired to the track pickups, the swing motor and the relays. The boom motor was mounted and wired to the decoder. Due to the height of the swing motor, another modification to the pulley arm was made. The crane was tested, and decoder CVs 2, 5, and 6 were adjusted before final assembly so the crane would operate in a realistic manner. Lighting was installed in the crane body using 3 SMD LEDs wired in series and to the third function output of the decoder. I hope you enjoyed this video on how I animated the 200-ton crane for operation on the layup.